And as this potential trade war ramps up, Elon Musk's task force has been pushing to gain access to sensitive government information targeting a federal agency. Chief Washington correspondent John Carl has that story. Good morning, John.
Good morning, George. Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency have promised to take a wrecking ball to the federal government, vowing to cut trillions of dollars in spending and to dramatically reduce the number of government employees. Now we have learned that his team has gained access to something extraordinarily sensitive, the system that the Treasury Department uses to disperse almost every check and expenditure of any kind made by the U.S. government. Sources tell ABC News that Elon Musk's team now has access to the Treasury Department's payment system, essentially the government's checkbook, which processes trillions of dollars in payments and includes personal information for hundreds of millions of Americans. The access was granted over the weekend over the objection of at least one senior Treasury Department official who has been put on leave. Neither the White House nor Treasury Department has responded to our request for comment. But after midnight last night, billionaire Elon Musk talked about his efforts to shake up the government on his social media platform, X.
There's already been really tremendous progress. We've, rough estimate is that there's at least a few $1 billion a day of savings.
One of Musk's top targets, USAID, the federal government's foreign aid agency.
As we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a bowl of worms.
On Friday night, a Doge team showed up at the USAID offices in Washington and demanded access, sources familiar with the incident tell ABC News. After a standoff, security guards ultimately led them in. Now, more than 100 USAID staffers have been placed on leave. Many more have been locked out of internal systems, and the organization's Trump-appointed chief of staff has resigned. USAID's $43 billion budget is a tiny fraction of federal spending, about 1%. But its support is a critical lifeline for people in need around the world, all while spreading American goodwill. Combating malaria, for example, an effort estimated to have saved nearly 12 million lives. And in partnership with the U.S. military, USAID officials have often been first to arrive with disaster relief, providing food, water, shelter, and health care to allies and partners. And this just in, USAID employees are waking up this morning to an email notice telling them not to show up to work today, as Musk says he is shutting the agency down. All of this, George, is happening over the loud objections of Democratic leaders in Congress who say that Elon Musk simply does not have the authority to do what he is now doing.
Well, that's going to be tested right now, but it is something remarkable when the biggest contributor to Donald Trump's campaign is now taking those actions inside the government. At the same time, tremendous unrest inside the FBI as prosecutors and agents who worked on the January 6th investigation are being targeted.
George, it looks like a wholesale purge of the FBI. As you know, already the 8 top officials at the Federal Bureau of Investigation have either been fired or forced to resign. Now the FBI is being asked to produce a list of every employee who worked on any case related to January 6th. I am told this is some 6,000 FBI employees all told. All of this has prompted an extraordinary email that went out over the weekend from the top FBI official in the New York field office saying, "Today we find ourselves in the middle of a battle of our own as good people are being walked out of the FBI and others are being targeted because they did their jobs in accordance with law and the FBI policy." That is somebody who has not yet been, who's still on the job, at least for now.
Boy, that is really something. You know, we really don't know how this story is going to end, but in this first 2 weeks of the Trump administration, we've never seen this kind of scope of executive action, which is going to be tested in the courts and in Congress.
And it continues to be tested. You're right about that, George.